back to the new show. I'm Random Rob. I hope everybody's doing okay in the midst of the COVID-19 outbreak. As I suspected, the governor of Virginia issued a stay-at-home order for the state this past week. It doesn't affect me personally that much, but it is a little spooky out right now. It's hard not to be worried about what's going on, and I just hope everybody who's watching is doing okay, and their friends and family are doing okay as well. Today I want to talk about an anime from 2003 called Planets that a lot of people in North America did not see. Planets was a manga that ran from 1999 to 2004. It was written by Makoto Yukimura and published by Kodansha. An anime was made from the manga that ran from 2003 to 2004. It was directed by Goro Taniguchi. The screenplay was written by Ichiro Okuchi. The music was written by Kotaro Nakagawa. And it was produced by Sunrise Studios. Planets takes place in the near future. In the opening scene of the anime, we see a commercial orbital passenger shuttle, the passengers and flight crew doing their thing, presumably getting ready for a landing in England. Outside the shuttle, we see a small object, a little hex head bolt, come into view, rotate slowly, and then heading towards the shuttle at frightening speed, where it smashes one of the windows, depressurizing the cabin and killing a lot of people. It's a really striking sequence right out of the gate and perfectly sets up what this show is about, which is space debris and the people who have to deal with it. Planets is a near-future sci-fi show in that it deals with the problems of orbital debris, space exploration, the politics of space exploration, and the lives of the people on the corporate ladder who work in these various sections of the Technora company. The problem of space debris was one that was popularized in 1978 by Dr. Donald J. Kessler, and he described something that came to be known as Kessler syndrome. Well, what is Kessler syndrome? If you've seen the movie Gravity, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kessler was very concerned that the amount of junk that was orbiting the Earth in low orbit could give rise to a situation where the collision of a couple of pieces of debris could cause a chain reaction, causing clouds of high-speed debris, which could be incredibly destructive to spacecraft or anyone working in low orbit. So Planets follows the crew of the spaceship Toy Box, commanded by Captain Fee Carmichael and her trusty first mate Yuri Meharikov. Although most of the narratives and story of Planets are seen through the eyes of its two principal characters, the cocky and hot-headed Hachirota Hoshino, who everyone calls Hachimaki because of the samurai headband that he wears, and the young and hopeful Ai Tanabe, who is the new girl working at debris section. And many of the early episodes often deal with Tanabe having to learn the ropes of working, collecting space debris, being overseen by Hachirota. What's remarkable about this anime is the level of detail and thought that went into not just depicting the near future with a degree of technical accuracy unseen in most sci-fi television, but that every episode is used to focus on the human condition in space and what it means. There's an early episode, for example, that deals with life insurance and how every year at the corporate space station, the insurance agents all show up to get everyone to renew or buy new policies. So all of the characters are giving their different rationales about what life insurance means to them, what having to write a last will means to them, what death in space means. And this dovetails into a second plot about the crew of the toy box recovering the space coffin of an astronaut who had been lost in space years earlier. And they find that his coffin is on an impact trajectory with Earth, and this leads to the whole legal question of what are they supposed to do with his body? What precedent should they observe? Should they return his body to the family? Should they send him back out into space? And it's episodes like this that blindside you with the seriousness of these issues. And that's what really impresses me most about Planets. Even though many of the characters are drawn very broadly, each character often will end up representing a certain point of view and will come into conflict with another character who has a differing point of view, with an attention towards social inequality that I don't think I've ever seen done in such a thorough and sensitive way. And this relates to an ongoing storyline in Planets about a space mission that's still several years away being sent to Jupiter with a new prototype fusion drive. The spaceship is called the Von Braun. And attacks being made by terrorists to try to stop the mission. And the terrorists' rationale in the show is that the exploration of space and the benefits of all the new technologies that it's creating are only benefiting the first world countries of the world, and that the poorest nations are being left behind, and that the global problems of flooding and famine and disease are being sidelined in this rush to profit from working in space. This is some heavy stuff for an anime, and it's to the show's benefit that so many of the situations are done a little broadly and a little tongue-in-cheek. It has a good balance of softening you up and then hitting you with the hard message. And I respect that. Some interesting details. The show was done with the help of consultants from the JAXA, which is Japan's space agency. All of the space and weightless sequences, I believe, were done at 48 frames per second rather than 24 to give the movement more smoothness and fluidity, which makes the space sequences seem more real. Like 2001, there is no sound in the space sequences, something I appreciate. Although, to be clear, in reality, it would probably be much more efficient to just destroy space debris, either with missiles or lasers or some kind of small automated system. The idea of sending a spacecraft with fuel and supplies and people to try to gather a bit of junk is a waste of resources, according to NASA. But aside from that minor issue, and some of the wilder characters and situations, at its heart, Planets is probably the most thoughtful television program about the meaning of space exploration for humanity that I think I've ever seen. It's refreshing to me to see a show like Planets that questions the venture of space exploration on a planetary scale, and really makes you think about the points of view of the different characters in the different parts of this machine. Probably my favorite moment in this series comes in an episode where Hachiroda is dealing with a bout of extreme anxiety and depression over being able to do his job. He has a panic attack. And while he's convalescing on the moon, he meets a girl who he believes is a teenager who turns out to be 12. The reason in the show that she seems to be adult is because she's one of the generation that was born on the moon. You know, her bones are lighter and longer, she's taller. Now clearly that kind of thing would not happen probably for dozens or hundreds of generations of people living on the moon, but again, it's kind of a broad stereotype to be able to give you the point of view of somebody who would live in space who would never be able to return to Earth. And there's a beautiful scene where the girl wakes up Hachiroda late at night. She gets some spacesuits and they sneak outside. And he had been telling her about the beaches of Earth, and she starts grabbing handfuls of moon dust and throwing it up in the air, saying, "See, this is my beach. This is my ocean." And he sees her as a girl in a swimsuit standing on a beach. It's just this really beautiful, touching moment showing the difference in perspective between these two characters. And it's because of moments like that that I heartily recommend Planets. Look it up. It's a great show. So how much realism do you like in your sci-fi? What are some shows or movies you would recommend? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked what you heard, please press the like button. And subscribe, and consider becoming a patron of the new show. Okay, thanks for watching. This is Random Rob, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.